Good afternoon, class. We're about to start the class. Yes, I've muted everyone so that there will be no disturbance. This is going to be my last facilitation with you. From next week, the second facilitator, Dr. Iyere, will be taking the class. So please let's pay attention and start up with our class. Our class today ought to be my last class with you. This is our fourth facilitation. In the last class, we looked about letter writing, which is an official correspondence. Today we are going to look at something related to official writing. But first, we'll look at report writing, which is also an official documentation. So our topic for this week is report writing and summary writing. Report writing and summary writing. For us to write our reports or any form of official writing, we may require summary. So we will pay attention to that also. Before now, we have looked at paragraph writing and different types of letter. We said that a paragraph is a unit of thought in writing. It must have a topic sentence, which you can expatiate, you can expand, you can develop through definition, through explanation, through illustration, through cause and effect, and through other methods. Then we looked at official letters, a specific way in which we can make use of paragraph. We talk about what are official letters, official documentation, different types of official letters, what is expected of you, the do's and the don'ts, how should you avoid abbreviations and avoid contraction. Can you all hear me? Somebody says he cannot hear me. Please, if you can hear me, just type I can hear so that I can continue. If you can hear, please just type I can hear you. Okay, thank you very much. So you can hear. That person, check your own network. Thank you very much. Many people can hear me. So the problem is probably from you. Thank you. So let's continue. Many people have responded, I can hear. So today we want to look at report writing. Report is also an unofficial document. Remember I said that when we are writing our letter, it should be about 2 pages at most. 2 pages at most. Usually it's 1 page. It could go on to 2, 3 pages. Anything outside 3 pages, should be avoided. And I said that complex topics that will exceed the usual formal letter page of 2 should be written as a report. Then you have something to accompany. So we are going to look at this. So we are going to look at the report writing. Report writing is an official communication. A report is an organized, factual, and objective presentation of information. What do we mean by organized information? It simply means it is orderly and systematically arranged. Organized, that's what we mean. It's organized and systematically arranged. What do you mean by objectivity? To be objective simply means that what you are writing is not influenced. There is no personal feelings or emotions added to it. Let me share my screen with you. Yes, it simply means it is not, what you are writing is not influenced by your personal feelings or emotions or prejudices. It should be objective. You write it the way you have seen it, the way you understand it, and not with your own reaction. If your report must contain personal feelings, or rather opinions, these opinions must be factual. If it must contain factual opinions, the opinion must be factual. Now, the content of the opinion must be based on facts. What do you mean by being factual? Being factual simply means the actual information, not invented. They are not creating it. It's based on real information. You are not the one who created the information. So what are reports? Reports are account of some event that you have come to know of. Account of an event that you have come to know of. It could be personal experience or result of investigation. For example, we investigate a student's level of intake of information. That is what we do, we give you an exam. The report is now your result. It's a report. It could be a report on scientific articles, scientific paper research, or survey. Now, for you to write reports, you don't just start writing. You need to go through 4 stages because it is a complex activity. It is an activity that requires carefulness. So you have 4 stages. What are these 4 stages? The first stage is stage 1. You must set relevant questions which you are going to respond to as you write. The questions are, what information do I want to convey to my readers or to the audience? What is the purpose of this report that I'm writing? Why am I writing it? What's the purpose? Is it to solve a problem? Is it to investigate an issue and do recommendation? You must know the purpose. And then who is it for? Who is the audience? Who are my readers? Is it my boss, only my boss, or many people, or a committee, as the case may be? Somebody is scribbling something on my page, I will stop sharing if you are going to start scribbling on it. Adija, you are the person. Stop it, or I remove you from listening, from participating in our facilitation. So who is it for? Who is the audience? One person, a group of persons, a committee, your boss. It depends. Who initiated it? Yes, sometimes the report is initiated immediately or remotely. Remotely means it is, you are asked to be writing reports every quarterly or every month. That becomes remotely. But it could be initiated immediately when a committee is set up and you have to immediately investigate an issue and write a report. So it becomes immediate initiation. So it could be remotely initiated or immediate. So that is the first stage. You must ask these questions and have the answers so that you now know how you write. The next stage is to gather relevant materials from different sources. You can gather these materials either by reading, you read things related to your topic, or through interview. You interview people who are relevant, who can give you the information you are searching for. Or you may even visit the scene of the incident, depending on what your report is all about. So there are different ways you can get your materials. But please note, as you are making effort to get your information, either by reading or through interview or by visit, what do? Get your pen and your paper and you take down notes. You will need to make reference to this note when you are writing your report at the final stage. So you must get relevant information, factual information, not that you are creating the information yourself. No. Then we move on to the third stage. At the third stage, we are expected to make an outline. You don't just start writing. Anytime you are writing, please make an outline. It will help you to function better. So, how do you do this? What's an outline? We have talked about outline before. It's just a rough work that will guide your final writing. You will make your outline, just your plan of writing, the way you want to write. When you make the outline, it makes your writing easier and more effective, and it will enable you to pay attention to one part at a time. So an outline is very important. So you must write your outline. As you write when you are writing your report, make your outline. Then we have the fourth stage. The first stage, that is the stage of doing the actual writing of the report. But please note that as you write your report, your language must be clear, it must be unambiguous, it must be simple and brief, straight to the point. Clear means using the right words. It's not by picking big vocabulary that makes you a good writer, no. It must be unambiguous. It must be unambiguous in the sense that use words that make sense. Unambiguity. Ambiguous word means it has more than one meaning. It has more than one meaning. So you cannot use words that has more than one meaning. Sorry for the break in transmission. We'll come back to our fourth stage. So, Usman, make sure you don't scribble on my screen or I'll remove you. Usman, sure you can hear me and you know yourself. So when we talk about ambiguity, it means there's more than one meaning. Make sure the words you are using have simple meaning. You know it has just one meaning. It's not confusing. You can clarify the issue of ambiguity by the way you construct your sentence. You must also avoid roundabout. Go straight to the point you want to make. Don't go round and round the bush. Avoid repetition. Avoid jargons. Now, if you must use jargon, what are jargons? Jargon simply means specialized words, technical words, peculiar to a particular discourse. Now, sometimes we cannot avoid but use jargons. We cannot avoid but use technical terms. Now, if you use technical terms or technical terminology in your report writing, please ensure that you explain this so that whoever is reading will understand. You cannot avoid it sometimes. So when you use it, you must explain the terms so that the layman reading will understand. We have different types of reports. You can have reports on events, which is an incident you witness. It could be a fire incident, it could be an accident, it could be a robbery. It could be something that happened in the office. You may be writing on it. You could even be writing reports on gathering, on meetings and gatherings. You could write reports on tests and experiments, which could be scientific or non-scientific. We could also write reports on surveys, that is official examination of a particular subject or official examination of a particular item in order to ascertain or to discover the condition or the quality or the quantity. You are still writing on my screen. Usman, I will remove you from this Zoom meeting. If you don't know how to operate, be careful. You are writing on my screen. Now, a report is made up of different parts. Just as our writing is made up of. Khadija, you're also writing now. Khadija, you are writing on the screen. Just like every written document must have 3 parts, which we have discussed before. A report too must have 3 parts. But before I go on, can we remember the 3 parts a document must have? Written document must have 3 parts. Our letters must have 3 parts. Any essay must have 3 parts. Please respond with chart to me, the 3 parts we ought to have. Respond with chart, list the 3 parts. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to answer my question. The 3 parts, chart it for me, chart. You have written 1, write the 3 at once. Don't write just 1, write the 3 at once. Some of you have written, good, thank you very much. Oluwatosi, introduction, body, and conclusion. Thank you. Basil, thank you. Introduction, body, very good. Princess, thank you. More, good. Adefolake, very good. Friday, very good. Priscilla, very good. Aaron, Lucky, very good. We all know that. I clap for you. Bravo, bravo, we know. I hope we put this into practice. Now, that's okay. When our introduction must have at least 1 paragraph. The body will have 2 or 3 or 4 paragraphs. Conclusion is 1 paragraph. Well done, well done. You've done so well. So enough of that response. Let's move on now. Now that we know, let's look at it in report writing. If it's our report writing, we must also have these 3 aspects. Now, what do we have at the introductory aspect of the paragraph? The introductory aspect, what do we have? Now, we must have the subject or the topic. You must tell us about, we must include the topic or the subject. Then the purpose of the report must be written at the introduction. That is background information. Why was it set up? If it was set up, did something happen? If it's a quarterly report, then write it that this is your quarterly report from this period to this period. That's your introduction. Report of your department or your sub-department. Which period is it covering? Write it at your introduction. If it is a report that is based on committee that was set up, tell us at this place who set it up, while it was set up, what is the essence? And if you are giving terms of reference, that is what you're supposed to investigate, then you write it also at the introduction. So introduction will give idea to the reader what it is all about. It's an introduction, it's not the main discussion. After introduction, we come to the content, that's the body. Now, what should your body of your report? Should contain a detailed and organized account of the information on the subject of the report. Things you have gathered, information you have gathered, now release them here. Tell us how you gathered them, how you discovered them, through interview, by reading. Did you ask for memorandum from people or you interviewed? Say it here, and now tell us, and now write up all those things you have, the information you have gathered, the questions, the interaction, and the discovery. You should support all you are doing with evidence. It could be figures, it could be tables, it could be graphs, it could be letters that have been sent in. At this point, you discover them, you talk about them. Then you come to your conclusion. The conclusion is the summary. You summarize all you've discovered. Summarize your observation and list your discovery or the issues or the problems. Then you give suggestions, give recommendations if it is part of your terms of reference. If not, leave it. It is possible that another committee may be set up to look at your report and do a recommendation. So if you're not asked to give recommendation, please don't. You must follow the instruction as given to you by your terms of reference if you are dealing with committee report. If it is monthly report, biannual report, again, follow the instruction given to you. But you must have these 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. It's very important. Now, When you are reporting an incident, how do you go about it? You must state the nature of the incident. Describe any physical injury, if any, or property damage. It's very important. Then you state precise details, the time of the incident, the date, the place, the name of witnesses. Is very important. Then your source of information should be given to us. You don't hide it. And any other important detail must be provided. Indicate the cause of the incident, whether it is remote or distant, if known. If it is not known, let it be. Then you give suggestion or recommendation if it is part of your terms of reference. If you keep scribbling, I will close, I will stop sharing. Now, but if you are reporting an experiment, you must give the subject. You must always let the person, your reader, know what you are writing about. Because it's an experiment, you need to supply or tell us the materials you have used for the experiment. Then you supply the procedure for the experiment, the step by step, what you did. Also indicate your observations. What did you discover? What did you observe? Then you gave your conclusion. If there is need for diagram, you give the diagram, draw the diagram. You can provide graph or diagram or drawing, as the case may be. It depends on what you are writing. Now, please know that if the purpose of the experiment is not obvious to your reader, you must state the purpose in clear terms at your introduction. State the purpose in clear terms, both at the introduction and then explain it in details in the body of the report, so that the audience can follow what you have written and understand what you have done. In the conclusion, please give the results of your experiment. Provide an analysis in your conclusion and state your findings in clear terms. This is when you are doing with experiment, when you are reporting an experiment or an observation. There are different types of experiment. It could be scientific or non-scientific. It's very important. So we have seen what it means, what it takes to write reports. We are moving on to something we also make use of when you're writing reports. But know that the issue of summary writing is not only doing reports. As you listen to lecture, as you are listening to me, as you listen to other lectures, as you do your private reading, you ought to make use of summary. You will need the skill summary writing. So summary is an essential skill, very useful to you as students, very useful to you as workers. You may attend a meeting, you are taking down the notes, it is in summary. Your boss is talking to you, you are taking down notes, it's in summary. You don't write everything somebody is saying verbatim. No, you must summarize. Now, what is summary? Summary simply is a shorter version of an original text or passage. It is an abridged version. What do you mean by shorter or abridged? It simply means it should be about 1/3 of the original version. Not half, less than half, for it to be a good summary. But it must contain the main point. It must also contain essential supporting points. You will be removing repetition, removing paraphrases, removing verbosity for you to write a good summary. Features of good summary. A good summary must have these three characteristics. First, it must be concise. What do you mean by concise? It must be brief and precise. 1/3 of the original version. Second, it must be clear. Clarity of expression, meaning go straight to the point. Use simple words. Avoid ambiguity. Use short phrases and short sentences. Avoid complexity that will cause confusion. Third characteristic, it must be complete coverage. What do we mean by complete coverage? The fact that we said it should be short does not mean that you must remove some points, major points. No. You must put in all the major points contained in the original version. If there are 10 points, then include the 10 points. Not only will you include the 10 points, the 10 major points, you must also include relevant illustration or supporting ideas, relevant ones. If for every point you have 3 or 4 illustrations, choose the relevant one, choose 2. Don't have to put the 4 of them. Choose 2 or choose 1. That is what you must have complete coverage. The information being given must not be tampered with. It must not be reduced. That's what you mean by complete coverage. You must not reduce information. It must be total, it must be complete, but remove irrelevancies, remove repetition, remove irrelevancy paraphrases for you to get your 1/3, your shortness. Not remove the essentials. You must not remove essentials. Now, what are the procedures or the steps of summary writing? You don't just start writing a summary. No, especially if you are reading or listening to something, you don't just start writing the summary. You must follow the procedure. The first thing, if you are reading, is to do what we call quick reading. Remember in your GST101, you did different levels of reading, different strategy for reading. We have 4 reading methods, which you looked at, which you can even say 3. So the first one, your first reading of a text or your first listening is skimming. What does skimming do? It simply gives you a general feeling about the document you are reading. So you are going to read very fast. You're not looking at the details. You're going to read very fast just to get an impression of the text. If you are listening, just listen. If you are playing, if it's audio, you just listen. Don't bother to get meaning, just listen. That's the first step. Then the second reading, now you do what we call study reading speed, meaning you take time to read. You read to not comprehend. You take time to listen. You listen to not comprehend. So you can now pause. You can reduce the speed of the audio you are listening to. The second time you are listening, the second time you are reading, it's a slow reading, what we call study reading speed or slow listening. Don't make the concept to be very fast. Make it slow now so that you can now digest. This time you want to read, you want to listen and digest what you are reading or what you are listening to. Having gotten the gist of the passage, you now understand, you know what is there. You can now watch out for the main points and then the supporting ideas. You can now see the main point from the illustration. You can now separate essential idea from non-essential one. You can now separate the relevant illustration from the digression. There will be digression. Then you can now remove repetitions, remove restatements or digression, remove paraphrases or substitutes in the passage. Having done that, you will now be able to write your summary. But when writing your summary, what are you going to do? In writing your summary, you should learn to use nouns in place of repeated nouns. That is a noun that have been mentioned before. That I keep saying the girl, the girl, the girl. Change it to she or use a synonym. The student came late. The student wrote on my screen. The student refused to mute herself. No, you can't keep repeating the student, the student, the student. You should be able to change to she or he. That's what we mean by using pronoun in place of already mentioned noun. Then you learn to compress ideas, bring them together. The ideas in the original version, you can compress them. How do you do this? You can link 2 or 3 related, similar sentences. You can bring them together to form one sentence. 2, 3, or 4 related sentences or relevant. Bring them together to give you one sentence. How will you do this? You will do this by using what you call coordinators, subordinators. We have discussed this before. Using join things for joining. In your GST101, you were introduced to it. Things like and, or, so that, in order that, in addition, whenever, as soon as, but, yet, for. These are all things you can use to join 3 or 4 sentences together. They also learn to use phrases in place of long sentences. The girl came after the lecture have started. That's a long sentence. Why not say the late comer, the late student? It can become a phrase instead of a sentence. There are other examples. Very important, in writing your summary, you must make sure that it is short and simple. Short and simple. That is the end of the topic for today. I've shown you how to write report. I've taken you through report writing and summary writing. So if you have questions now, you are going to indicate that you have questions by raising up your hand. I will identify you and I will give you permission to mute yourself. If you are not allowed to mute yourself, please don't mute yourself. If you make it rowdy, I will end the class. I'm going to allow you to be able to unmute yourself, but you must be very orderly. Unless you are acknowledged, don't ask questions. The first person I have here is Bukola Ojelade. Unmute yourself and ask questions.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Ojelade. You are welcome.
Thank you for the class, ma'am. We enjoyed the class. But the question I wanted to ask is when you are saying that if you are writing your summary or even the body of the report, that you can use pronoun instead of already used noun. And we can still use synonym or so. I wanted to ask that what's not synonym and acronyms and synonym and acronym. So I want to.
I did not mention acronyms, did I? Where did you say acronyms? Anyway, synonyms means similarity in meaning.
Okay.
The word that has the same meaning as another word is said to be synonymous. For example, the woman, the lady, it's the same, they are synonyms.
Okay.
Then acronyms are short form of words.
Okay.
It's when you bring words together, but you cannot use acronyms in summary writing in the sense that if you mentioned a noun before, you now want to move into acronym. Before you can use that, you must have introduced it to the acronym before you use it subsequently.
Okay. Okay.
So you are welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
You are welcome. Sam Olagbemi, unmute yourself and ask your question. Sam Olagbemi.
Yes, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Sam.
Yes, ma'am. My question I want to ask is on the reports.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, I start to take a report and I needed to submit it to somebody who is not with me. That means I have to write a letter. So should I write the letter as a different thing, or I should continue with the write-up and address it? How do I go about it? How am I writing the report?
If you write report, is always the person does not have to be with you now in writing report. It doesn't have to be with you, and you don't have to put a letter. You're writing a report, you're writing a report. What we have said is a report writing, it may be that this is your function in the office to write report every 3 months or 2 months or weekly. Then you write it. If you are sending it through mail, if that's what you are saying, you will send it as an attachment. You have written a letter, your email to say, please, sir, find my quarterly report as attached. You would have not written that you now send it as an attachment.
Okay.
I get your question.
Yeah. The second question, ma. Yeah. Permit, ma. If I'm to write a minute, if I'm a secretary in a meeting, and I'm to present a minute, would that be called a report? Is that also called a report? A minute of the meeting that was.
Minutes of a meeting is not technically called a report. It's technically called minutes, but in reality, it's a report of the gathering.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
In technicality, it is a report of what happened, but that is not the terminology used for it. The terminology used is minutes of a gathering, of a meeting.
Okay, that means the method of writing will probably be different from the method of writing reports.
The method is not the same. You have procedure for writing minutes, and they have their headings.
Okay.
Minutes, you have the heading of the minutes, you have the opening aspect, you have the attendance, you have the matters arising for the previous meeting, you have the reading of the previous meeting, and all that. So it's not the same. But I'm not looking at that with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
John, Chuku is the next person. John, Chuku Hudu. I can't see your full name. John, ask your question, unmute yourself and ask your question. John, quickly, our time is going. If you do not talk, I'll pass to somebody else.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, John.
Thank you for the class today. My question is, apart from the ways you explained on how to compress a statement in having report, are there other ways can you practically illustrate how we can compress a voluminous situation to have a brief report? Thank you, ma'am.
I think you have example on your course material. You have an example on your course material, how to compress sentences. You have an example. Have you gone to your course material? No. You've not read. Good. You were supposed to have read before coming to this class. Then you ask me questions that you don't understand. But you people don't read. You come to listen. If you had read now, you will not ask this question. Or if you have read and have an issue, you can now raise it, then I'll be able to handle that issue with you. So please go and look at it and then come back with a question on the Telegram page.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. But mind you, this is my last week, though I can entertain questions for you people. I pay for lack. Is it Abiodun? It's not written full. You can ask your question. I did for lack. Ask.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the class. I want to ask a question on the stage 4 of the report. You mentioned avoid jargon. I don't really understand the jargon.
I explain what is meant by jargon. You did not listen. I said that jargon, listen now. Jargon is technical now. Jargon is technical term. Jargon is technical. Like for example, the medical people have some words. Like for example, the medical people have some words that you don't understand. If you go to hospital, doctors want to talk, they don't want you to understand. They use the terms. Those terms they are using is what we call jargon. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any other question?
Yes, I still have question, ma'am.
Quickly, we don't have time. Quickly, we don't have time.
Like in my office now, I can ask you that I want to send mail to my HR. So if you are sending mail, and I want to ask if you can see make use of paragraph in sending your mail.
I can't. I didn't hear you.
I'm saying now is like wanted to send mail now, and is it advisable to use paragraph sending mail?
If you're writing something lengthy, you will use paragraph. If it's not length, if it is 1 or 2 lines, which one is paragraph? If you are sending a email, it depends on what you are doing.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma.
Antonia, unmute yourself. Ask a question, Antonia.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Mine is more like a plea about the next lecturer that will take us. I want to plead if he can still use the Telegram group.
I cannot speak for him. I can't speak for him. When you meet him next week, you can suggest that to him.
Okay, ma'am, because I really enjoyed the way you were uploading the classes before.
But you know the things are also on your course page.
Yes, ma'am.
They're on your course page. And it's an extra work going to the Telegram. This is
more easier
extra work and stressful. But it is extra work and stressful to the lecturer also. Mind you, he may be very busy. Maybe I'm less busy, that is why. He may be very busy. Okay?
All right.
Bukola, you have answered questions. You have asked questions before. I'm not going to call you. Give others opportunity. I'm not going to call you Bukola for now. I'm calling the next person after you. Who is that person? Mary and Fanny, I'm going to remove you if you don't mute yourself and remove that child from making a. We are all parents. Unmute yourself or I remove you from the platform, Mary and Fanny. The next person is, what's this name? S. Sesuk or Oduro Rof. Oduro. Ask your question and unmute yourself. I don't pronounce your name very well.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
My question is, which tense will you use in report writing?
Past tense now.
Past tense.
It's what happened in the past.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
It's not, see, you have to be careful now. In as much as it's past tense, if the presentation, if the person gives you past tense, I came there late, and you want to report it, you say, he said he had come there late. So it depends. You don't understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It could be past tense, past tense, or past participle. It depends on the way what was presented to you. Abiola, unmute yourself and ask your question. Our time is almost gone. More and more people are asking questions. You have to come on Telegram. Abiola, ask your question.
Okay, I want to ask, you said supposed to be about 1/3 of the original scripts. Is it always in all cases? I just want to know. I want clarification, please.
I didn't get your question.
You said in this summary it's supposed to be 1/3 of your
about
scripts.
1/3.
Yes. So is it in all cases that it must be so? That's my question.
I didn't hear you. The last part.
Is it in all cases that it must be 1/3 of the original?
It should be about 1/3, not half. It should be less than half. That's the meaning. In all cases, it should be less than half. It should be about 1/3, not half. It should be less than half. For a good summary, it should be less than half. It should not be about half. It should be about 1/3. So what we are saying is, if you have like 100 words, reduce it to about 40 or 35, not 50. 50 is not a good one. That's the point. Are you okay? Emmanuel, unmute yourself and ask your question. Emmanuel. After this, I will take 2 more questions and I will stop. You can send your question online to the Telegram. If it's a reasonable question, I will respond. If it is not, I will not respond. Emmanuel, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
I must confess I enjoyed this lecture, and unfortunately, it's my first time of being in your class.
Why?
The directorate they refuse to upload my GST102. So I'll be
Okay, no
battling
problem.
that with
Hello,
them.
hello, there's Emmanuel, there's no
yes.
problem. If you go online, or you will see all that we have been doing is there online on the course page. You can click and watch. I think I also even send them to the Telegram group also. Click and watch. You have lost nothing. Just like you have to now go and watch. The only thing you've lost is probably opportunity to ask questions in those classrooms, in those facilitation, and you can still ask your questions. So go back to your course page and you can still follow what we have done. You will see all the videos. You will see the instructional material I've sent online. Even I sent some on the Telegram group. Are you on the Telegram group? Are you on the Telegram?
I'm just hearing it. Yes, I'm on Telegram, but I'm hearing about the group for the first time.
How can you hear this Telegram group for this course? You are not there? Please,
I'm hearing it for the first time. That's what I'm saying. I'm just joining the class.
Okay, let
I'm
your
just
friend,
joining the class for the first time.
Somebody has posted it on the chat. Somebody should please post the link on this chat. Post the link for us now. Post the link for us, please. Somebody should post the link so that it will help him on this
There
page.
is a question.
Thank you very much.
There is a question I actually wanted to ask.
Person has posted the link. That's the link for you to join. Quickly ask
the question I actually have in mind to ask is when we're talking about report writing. I want to ask, like a traffic officer investigating a road crash, is that same report going to take the same format with the other type of report?
A traffic officer is making a report. He's making a report.
On the road accident.
Yes, we ask questions now from those who are around. What happened? If it's a report, he's writing to his senior one. It is their rule. If we state it in this introduction, it's the same format.
Yes. Okay, man.
Tell us to come and close windows. Okay, that's all. Who is this? Chim this summer. Mute yourself or mute yourself and ask your question. Chim this summer. Quickly. Good afternoon.
I really appreciate this avenue you gave me now to. Thank you so much for all you have been doing for us. I appreciate.
You're welcome.
I'm just joining for the first time since it started. My GST102 have not been able to. My portal have not been able to work all this while, so I just worked on it today. And when I joined, I was unable to hear all that you started with about the.
It will. Don't worry, Chim. It will be posted online. You are going to watch the video from the beginning to the end. It will be on your course page for you to watch.
All
to
right.
be posted.
All right.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Lucky, unmute yourself and ask your question. Aaron, quickly. Lucky, Aaron, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good day, ma.
Good day.
Thank you very much, ma. My problem is, you see, this topic really touched me well because it's one of the things I've been dealing with in the office report writing. Now, my question goes my question goes to survey reports. Now, there is one mistake I have just learned now, which I also want to ask question more on it. Now, in writing a survey report, now I have an observation, I also have recommendation. Now, I really want to know, recommendation is in conclusion or the body of this report?
Okay. When you're writing recommendation, when you are in the part of your body write-up, recommendation will come up there. You are lying on the bed and you are making phone call. You are showing us your face. Will you? Who is this? Yeah. Very good. Let me just remove him. Can you imagine the insult?
Can
you imagine? Remove him. Nonsense. Okay, when you are writing the body, you must make your recommendation. You will say, I noticed this, so we are recommending. So in the body, to discover this, we're recommending that this should be done. It should be done in this way. But in the conclusion, we might just say, this should be done without giving detail of how it should be done. I don't know if I answered your question.
Thank you very much, ma. I really appreciate all this question. Thank you very much. I'm
God
happy
bless.
because
God
I
bless.
always bring the recommendation to the conclusion of the letter. I only put observation at the body of the letter while the recommendation come to the conclusion. So thank you.
See, when you observe something negative, you now want to describe how it can be solved.
Yes.
You put it there, but you now go briefly, you summarize it to close up. You not just pin, not in detail now at the conclusion aspect.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, Antonia Charity, I hope it's Charity. Quickly ask your question, unmute yourself, Antonia. Antonia Charity, unmute yourself and ask your question, or your question has been answered. Okay, if it has been answered, we have come to the end of this facilitation. It's been a nice time being with you. And from next week, my partner, Dr. Oyere, will be taking you for your facilitation the same time, but the link may change. I will discuss with him. The link may change. It will be posted on the course page, so you will check. Do your best, do your studies, and you will have a good result.
Thank you,
please
ma'am.
let what you have studied reflect in your everyday dealing, and that will make me happy. Goodbye and all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the best.
God bless you.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
God bless
you.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.